Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, my Crimsonite. Welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I'm your hostess, femininity coach, and author, Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. So this is a very interesting video that I've seen where this woman explains how, as a teenager, she's in the church and then slides off into a whole world of sex and drugs and prostitution and adult filmmaking and all of this foolishness. It's just take a listen to it.
Singing for Jesus, my choir member introduced me to prostitution. And the funny thing is, the baby daddy, the 27-year-old that I met at 13, couldn't do it. He tried, but he couldn't do it. But it was when I met that girl in church, she had that type of influence on me. And so I ended up running away from my grandparents' house and moving in with my choir member, who not only opened up the door for prostitution, but she introduced me to drugs. I ended up getting addicted to cocaine and ecstasy. And so from 15, 16, 17, I started stripping. I started prostituting. I was selling dope at this point, and I was addicted to it. And if that wasn't bad enough, while I was in the nightclub, some porn stars came in. And I knew who they were. They were famous, very well known in the Black community. And I thought I was just going to say hi, but that conversation ended up changing my life. And one of the young ladies said, "Have you ever thought about doing porn?" And I said, "Absolutely not. You know, I've seen it a couple of times. You know, I watched it. You know, the Saints be watching porn. But I've seen
That's what they say, allegedly.
The Saints be watching.
Hey, wait a damn minute.
The Saints be watching porn. So I seen it. But I didn't want to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Praise the Lord.
I definitely saw it and knew who they were. Never imagined, even though I was already in that lifestyle, I never imagined taking it that far. But she said something that just kind of changed my world. She said, "If you think you're making money now, you haven't seen anything yet." I made $30,000 in 1 month.
The title of my video, A 304's Final Form is a Religious Woman. Interestingly enough, I'm not really referring to the one that you see on the screen. I'm referring to the one that influenced her. Because the one that opened the door or influenced her or talked to her about it or introduced her to her, however you want to say it, was the 304 that, quote unquote, was reformed in church. Their final form is to, quote unquote, get religious somehow. But the problem with that is that if they don't actually embrace God, they just take that demon with them and pass it on to somebody else. And in order to be influenced to that degree by somebody, there had to be, within the lady on the screen here, there had to be some desire to do so. And we know that to be true because she said that the choir member helped introduce her to prostitution. However, beforehand, she was 13. Her boyfriend was 27 when she was 13, and he tried to do it, but he couldn't. So you had been in the street being fast, sneaking behind your grandparents' back, dating a whole almost 30-year-old man, and you're 13. I'm pretty sure your grandparents didn't know about that. I'm pretty sure that they didn't have no idea that you was out there being fast, let alone with a full-grown man. Okay? Not a 16-year-old boy, not a grown. Okay? So you were already fast. And this is why whatever kind of influence that choir member girl had on you, it took that time. You grasped it because you was a little bit older than 13. So you said at about 15, you ran away from your grandparents, who was the ones that probably put you in church, that was probably trying to give you some structure, because whatever was going on with your parents, you weren't living with them. You was living with your grandparents. So your grandparents was trying to give you some type of structure, but they're old. They can't run the street after you. You're young. So you run in circles around your old grandparents. So you run away from them, you get hooked up with whoever this other person is, and then y'all start hoeing and running the street together. Because you said by the time you was 15, 16 or so, you're selling drugs, you hooked on drugs, you're in the clubs, you're prostituting, you doing all kind of stuff. You just in the life. You just in the street. You just in the street. Then y'all are out. Some porn stars come in. You know who they are. You go over there because they're celebrities to you. And this lady recruits you again. So you get recruited again. Mind you, you're getting recruited for stuff that you want to do. Right? This is stuff that you want to do. So this lady said, because there's no real line in between one type of prostitution and the other. Adult film star is nothing more than prostitution on camera, right? It's the same thing. You're engaging in sex in exchange for money. That's the same thing. And you have to have sex with these guys that you don't know. And then somebody got to film it and somebody got to put it out and all this other kind of stuff. It's really no different. Once you do one, you'll do the other one. Shaitan will help you create an illusion of a boundary that's not really there. Oh, I seen the porn, but I didn't want to do it. Yes, you did. Because if you didn't, ain't no such thing as one conversation took you way over there. Right? See, here's the thing that people have to understand about the way in which Shaitan influences you. He influences you with what has the highest rate of being successful with you. Different people have different vices that they're susceptible to. Some people are susceptible to deleting people, so he get them with that. Most people are susceptible to sexual sins, right? Other people are susceptible to a lot of lying. Other people are susceptible to a lot of, you know what I'm saying? It come in stages and degrees, but he influences you. He whispers to you those things that appeal most to you. He doesn't come to a person who never thought about unaliving nobody with being no serial killer. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's not gonna work. That person not into that they don't do that. They wouldn't do that. So he don't come to them with that. But he will come to you with, being a deceptive person, a liar, a manipulator, a sexual deviant, an abuser, whatever the case may be. A drug addict, a drinker, a whoremonger. He gets you with that stuff. He gets you with the thing that most appeals to you. So that was already in her spirit. That Jezebel spirit was already there. It just needed a little bit nudge to boot her out the door, and she was gone. She, you know what I'm saying? She was off to the races with that. I hope that you heard that, because it was almost like it was this other person's fault that she was doing it. But no, this was the stuff that you would have done probably anyway, or you would have at least gone at least some part into that life, because that's where you were going. That's where you were headed. That's why the influence worked the way that it did. Nobody brainwashed you to do that. They simply suggested it, which is what Shaitan does. That's literally what he do. He suggests things to you that he think you might actually do because it appeals to you on some level to do it. And if he give you the right suggestion, or he do it enough and without any rebuke from you, without any, resistance from you, you'll just do it. And that's what she's talking about. The Jezebel whole spirit was already there. It just needed a little encouragement. Just a little. She the one took off to the races. Because who told you to get hooked on drugs too? You see what I'm saying? You went all the way to the left, like you went all the way over there. Right. Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host of The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.